Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of PES Day Celebration by IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professionals. We're so thrilled to have you join us today. In today's discussion, we will be discussing the role of mentorship for young professionals in the power and energy sphere. My name is Adedoyin Inaolaji, and I have the pleasure of being your host today. I would like to welcome to this discussion today Simay Akar. Simay, would you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adedoyin. So, as we're teammate and long-term YP passionate YP volunteers, a young professionals, Power Society young professional volunteers. So, I'm very happy to be in this session together with you. So, we'll add so many important, just like points about mentorship. And this is Simay Akar. I'm from Turkey. I live in Istanbul, and I'm from Turkey section. And I'm passionate IEEE volunteer since 2007. And in my professional life, in my day job, I'm a co-founder and chief commercial officer of INOSES. I'm in the field of lithium-ion battery technologies for electric vehicles and energy storage systems. And I'm passionate renewable energy advocate. And I've been working for the photovoltaic industry for a while. I work for several manufacturers. I lived in China and Turkey. I work at headquarters of some corporate photovoltaic manufacturers in the past. And in parallel, I've been volunteering for IEEE with several roles in Power and Energy Society, and in 2021 and 2022 as the chair of Power and Energy Society Young Professionals Committee, and working together with you and awesome team members of Young Professionals Society, IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professionals Committee, and awesome team members. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you
Very
so much,
briefly,
Simay.
that's about me.
Thanks for that introduction, Simay. And I can attest to the fact that it's been really awesome working under your leadership. As I mentioned, my name is Adedoyin Inaolaji, and I am a Nigerian currently doing my PhD at Florida International University in Florida, Miami, USA. And my research is mainly on power systems optimization. But as Simay mentioned, I serve with Simay on the IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professionals team as the vice chair. So thank you so much for joining us again. We really hope that this will be a very insightful conversation for you. So at IEEE PES YP, we have actually been having a series of sessions in commemoration of the PES Day this month of April. And so, in that line, Simaya and I today will be having an interactive discussion on the role and the significance of mentorship for young professionals in the power and energy sphere. At any point during this conversation, feel free to put your questions or your comments in the chat, okay? All right. So with that being said, Simai, I believe that young professionals definitely have a lot to contribute to the future of the energy sector, as well as its impact on the economy. And mentorship definitely plays a very important part of any person's journey through life. A brain to pick, an ear to listen to, a nudge in the right direction, someone to tell you not yet or now is the time to go ahead with this. I believe that we all need the perspective of a trusted other to help us see hope and also help us map a way forward, right? And so I see mentorship as a very crucial and a very necessary ingredient to successfully leaping to great heights. I believe it was Isaac Newton who said, I have seen further by standing on the shoulder of giants. So, having said that, Simai, how would you define mentorship in your own words? And why would you say that mentorship is important or significant for young professionals who are in the power and energy sphere?
That's a great start. And well, mentorship is a journey. So there are lots of benefits for mentee and mentor. So it's about learning, sharing and caring, because like in all our journeys we have lots of things to learn from each other in the power energy society and power energy field. So like having a trustworthy mentor or mentee also, and sharing this knowledge is really important because there are lots of emerging technologies, information, technical knowledge to improve. Just like leverage the technology together, and just like whenever you need any personal support in this journey, so you have that trustworthy person to give you the feedback and give you the support and encourage you to believe in yourself. So this is actually the journey to discovering your own potential and sharing this potential with the others. And this could be just like one way around. Just like it's not from mentor to mentee only, and for mentors also. Just like it's part of the journey they share.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that it should be a two-way journey. And you touched on that a little bit. But I think it's very important to state here that, um, there should be something to gain on each side of a mentorship relationship, right? It should definitely be a win-win for the mentee as well as the mentor. So it should be a sort of mutualism where both parties benefit greatly from the relationship, right? Of course, typically the mentor would be a giant in the field, someone who is more experienced than the mentee, someone
Mhm.
who is at their cutting edge in their field. And so undoubtedly the mentee definitely has a lot to gain from the mentor mentee relationship. But I think it's also important for mentees going into the relationship to go in with the mindset of actually bringing something to the table, right? So mentees should see themselves as a value vested professional who has something to offer.
Mhm.
So rather than going in with the mindset of benefiting only or receiving only from the mentor, the mentee should also be very intentional about contributing, no matter how little that contribution may seem. It could be a little gesture, say, for instance, sending an email to your mentor prior to the next mentorship session, right? Stating, okay, maybe these are the two or three things that I would like to discuss during our next mentorship session. I think this will communicate to the mentor that, number one, you value their time and that you're thinking ahead and preparing yourself. Because typically, the mentor would be a very busy person, right? And secondly, it will also show that you are a self motivated individual. And
Mhm.
so I think it's important that, for every mentorship relationship, it should be driven by the young person. It should be driven by the mentee. Um,
Mhm.
and I know that if you're anything like me, you might be a little bit reluctant to, be the one to drive the relationship, such as scheduling the meetings, because you might not want to appear to be a burden to the mentor. However, I believe that if the mentor has agreed, to mentor you, then they definitely will not see you as a burden for following up and scheduling meetings. So basically, what I'm saying in essence, just to summarize, is that as a mentee, you need to try your best to make it easy for the mentor to mentor you because they are busy and they are making a huge sacrifice to mentor you, and they are having to deal with so many things at the same time. So yeah, try to make it rewarding for them as well, right? Um, but with that being said, Simai, different companies, right, typically have formal mentoring programs where, say, you can get matched up with a mentor, right? And to bring this home a little bit, even at PSYP, we actually just concluded a 4-month long She for Her mentorship program, right? Which was spearheaded by the very brilliant Pretty Warrior, who is our um, WIP liaison, right? And for the Shift4R program, it is a well organized opportunity that brings leading experts from different domains of power and energy, right, to upskill young female engineers, motivate them and encourage them to excel in their career. And I was actually a part of the first cohort which just ended. I was actually a mentee, and so I can say that not only did it meet my expectations, but it actually also exceeded my expectations. Because aside from the technical knowledge that I gained, we also had a 2-day leadership workshop, which was very insightful. However, my question, Sima, is this: must mentorship be confined to such a well manicured or formalized matching system? What would you say are some other ways for young professionals to search out and find mentors in their field of power and energy?
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on, mentorship, on finding mentors, especially in our daily interactions?
Well, for mentorship programs or mentorship opportunities for young professionals are all upskilling and reskilling opportunities because like especially in the power energy field, so you need to specialize in some of the fields, and you need to be very passionate to your field. But there are so many opportunities, emerging technologies, and just just like new improvements and developments in your field as well. You need to be updated to new information. So you need to keep update yourself and equip yourself for the next.
Mm-hmm,
So that's actually where the role of mentorship starts,
mm-hmm,
because that's also another opportunity for the mentor itself. But as you said, if you already match or if you're already dedicated to this mentorship program, you should both value your time, and you need to be aware you both do, otherwise you wouldn't be there. Mentorship is not a journey that you're writing on your CV or something. It's all about sharing. It's all about caring. So you care, that's why you're there. So if you are not if you couldn't schedule the call that day you're willing to with your mentor or mentee, doesn't mean the other side don't really care your time or don't value your time. You do. So first we need this awareness, and second we need to be aware of the value of the knowledge of the other side. So then we actually learn, even where we have the specialization, and we are actually just learning in very specific field from our mentor or mentee, let's say from mentor to mentee. But still, the other emerging technologies relevant to your field, specific field, is also another opportunity. As if you're specialized in photovoltaics, that there are so many innovations coming up, like energy storage, or just those car parks or applications, then that means any person who are expertise in some of the fields will bring you some new ideas for your future
mm-hmm,
to be updated. So reskilling and upskilling is really important. They are both very important because you need to reskill yourself every single day for your own field because it's changing.
mm-hmm.
And if you would like to go further, you need to upskill yourself. So that
Right.
means you need a knowledge of your mentor or some of your peers, uh, and care and value the knowledge the other side.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Mentorship is all about upskilling and reskilling. I like that. That's really a really good point, Simai. So coming down to, some practical ways for young professionals to actually initiate. Okay, maybe I should put it this way: who should initiate the mentorship relationship, right? Should it be the mentor or the mentee? And then how should the person who is initiating the relationship go about it? So say for instance, I have identified someone in my field who is an expert, who is at their cutting edge, who I really admire, or whose future looks like where I'm going to, right? And I would really like for that person to be my mentor. How do I initiate that relationship?
Well, initiating that relationship depends on the connection. So, if you're attending or applying a mentorship program under one umbrella, that means you're just already reaching out that channel and you're following the rules from the channel itself.
Hmm.
But most importantly, once you're matched or when you find your mentor or mentee, you need to build the trust relationship and you need to build your own rules internally to learn from each other.
Hmm.
But then another way of matching is approaching to a mentor directly without having any program. Mentorship is not about program. Of course, it's more organized when you're mentor or mentee under a program in certain period of time.
Right.
Um, then you have some outcomes and you have some just like takeaway knowledge from the certain period of time. And if you approach, that's also another important thing. Don't hesitate to approach any person you think like you'll get a lot of benefits by being mentor, being your mentor. Let's say
Hmm.
that's a great opportunity just to say, I value your knowledge. I would like to be your mentor. Do you have some time to be my mentor time to time? And then you just have built your own rules, and you can define your own timeline. It's also important. Mentorship is a journey, could be like lifelong, but
Hmm.
we have outcomes from the certain period of time from such kind of relationship. I mean, you
Hmm.
can continue your mentorship relationship even after the certain period of time. But if you say, try this for 3 months, let's try this for a year, if there is no program, and the time and the schedule is defined under the program,
Yeah.
that means that you need to think about your own journey. So like, what you target, what are your goals from this program? So like, what is your timeline out of this whole schedule that you will build together?
Hmm.
If your goals are like a year ahead, so you can also think about like half year, a year program. But then even both side can just say, let's try this for 1 year, try
Hmm.
this for 2 years, and try to achieve these and that. But it's also very important to talk about the boundaries and rules at the very beginning between two sides. Just learn about each other, because like, if you know your boundaries, you trust the other side. If you
Hmm.
couldn't reach out that person for a week, doesn't matter. You have that relationship. When they're more free or available time, they will come back to you at the earliest convenient, and they will schedule your call at any time. Or if you know they're sensitive about some issues, so you avoid to talk about those, you focus on your goals and targets, to get more benefit out of this certain period of time. So like, it's important to be very transparent at the very beginning and continue being transparent during the whole journey.
Yeah, thank you so much, Simaya. Let me just touch a little bit on
Of
not
course.
being afraid to actually reach out to a person who you actually, admire. And that's actually how Simai and I met, right? So I remember I attended I believe it was the IEEE PES Global Student Congress in 2020. And so there was a whip session on empowering women as future leaders. And Simai, you were a member of that panel, right? As well as John McDonald. And I remember John McDonald saying this exact same thing. He was talking about mentorship and he was saying, do not hesitate to reach out to anyone who inspires you. Don't be afraid. And yeah. And so I was really inspired by Simai. So I went to LinkedIn, searched her out, and sent her a connection request and asked her, oh, I'm really inspired by everything you're doing in the energy field. Would you be my mentor? So that's actually how Simai and I, that's how this relationship
You do.
started. So it totally works. I mean, most times than not, a lot of people would be willing, to actually mentor you. Um, yeah, I think most people will respond with great enthusiasm. So I've definitely learned to reach out to people who I do not know from anywhere, who inspire my journey. I don't hesitate to reach out. So definitely reach out to whoever you see that inspires you. Yeah, don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. Just reach out. I mean, the worst they will say is no, and you won't be any worse off than you were before, right? But the best thing that could happen is them saying yes, and then you begin, such a great relationship with them,
And
right?
if you're hearing no, just try with another person that you admire. Like if you're hearing no from that person, there must be another reason. It doesn't mean they don't want to help you. If you already have some reasons to admire them, like they must have some, just like a inspirational side. But still, like not everybody is available all the times, and it is not just the end of the journey. If
Mm-hmm.
you're hearing no from one person for the moment that you ask, that means your journey should match with another person, and you need to learn something else from that person at that certain period of time. So, like, think about it that way. So, like, don't hesitate to approaching more people.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, Simai. It's important for us not to take it personally. Like if you hear a no, don't take it personally. Don't over emotionalize things, okay? It could just be that the person is in a different season of life, or they just cannot afford to take on more, or you're supposed to be with another mentor, okay?
Yes. Maybe it's all about your journey. Like at that time, you will learn something else you never thought about.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with that. Thanks for saying that, Simai. So, say for instance, and I haven't really had any experience with this personally, but how should a young professional rebound in the case of a failed mentorship relationship? So, say for example, they did as we mentioned, they sent out an email or a LinkedIn connection invite to someone who they greatly admire and who they would like to invite, to be their mentor. But then after the mentorship journey begins, both parties, maybe things do not go as expected, or for some reason, both parties do not just see eye to eye. What should a young professional do in this case?
Rebounding is really important because we lose the connection for certain period of time as well.
Mm-hmm,
If we don't define the time and the rules, and if we're not transparent enough to each other, we may lose the connection even easier way. And just like we have other priorities, both sides, mentors and mentees. And it's very possible for mentors as well, because other things are going on in parallel. It doesn't
mm-hmm,
mean, again, back to our previous conversation, it doesn't mean they don't value their time with you. They do. But
mm-hmm,
then for some reason that you need to rebound in your program. So this is also another important thing, approaching the other side instead of taking it personally. And just like connect with them, and just ask, can we just overview our rules, or is there anything you can do your own analysis and have this discussion openly with both sides, if you can reach. If you hesitate and take it personally, it's very easy to disconnect within the relationship,
mm-hmm,
because you are under a program. So like it is not a huge commitment by being a mentor if you don't really, just have that bound with your mentee. Because once you build that bound for both sides, so like you will find a way to rebuild, it's like a building a relationship in your
mm-hmm,
private life,
mm-hmm,
because that mentor is actually part of your personal life. It's still professional, under some programs, but the knowledge you're sharing, not only technical, but also about life, about the challenges you have in your, just like your day job, your real volunteer journey, or anything else. So like you also address those issues, and if you're fine to discuss about them, how you will understand who is fine to discuss about them. You need to be transparent and check all the times. Are you okay to talk about this? Yes. And then you share your story and knowledge, because you need the support to empower your own potential. So this is also another way to rebound. Just like once you feel you're disconnected for some information,
mm-hmm,
you can raise the issue. Like I was just thinking we can just like connect again and discuss an overview, this and that.
mm-hmm,
And the other side will be very helpful to hear whatever happens over there transparently,
Mm-hmm.
and they can actually improve their own approach to you. Because sometimes we just like act without being without having an awareness.
Yeah. I think someone once said that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. As leaders and as young professionals, it's important not to make assumptions about people based on how we perceive, that they're acting towards us. It couldn't be totally different from, or it could be a totally different reason from what you're thinking,
Yep.
or the other person might not even know that you're feeling that way. And so I think it's important that, as leaders, as young professionals, we have authentic conversations with our mentors. I mean, if you're a mentee now, or even the mentor can also have, some authentic conversations with the mentee and ask questions like, okay, this is what I am sensing, or
Yep.
this is how I'm feeling about this situation, but I would like to hear from you. Am I meeting your expectations of me? Are there some things that, would you prefer for me to be doing things differently? It's really important to have those conversations before then, drawing conclusions or deciding that, okay, this relationship is not working for me. So basically what we're saying is that, do not make any assumptions, even when things don't seem to be going the way you think they should be going. Rather, have, some conversations with, through active questioning. Have some conversations with the other party, and yeah, just be transparent, be open, and if truly, you both reach a consensus that, okay, maybe this is not, I mean, this cannot work out, then yeah, as we already said, don't take it personally, don't emotionalize things. Yeah, just, move on from there. So thank you for that, Simai.
Of course, and like instead of emotionalizing the things, like
Mhm,
once you start discussing about, you will realize more things. So like
mhm,
you actually discover the real improvement and
mhm,
empowerment when
mhm.
we are more transparent.
True, true, that is very true. So, Simai, I know you touched a bit on this, but you mentioned that from the onset, the boundaries should be set, right?
Yes.
So, say for instance, it's not a formalized mentorship matching system. Say for instance, the mentorship relationship, just happened naturally, or one party initiated things, um, and you should definitely define the scope from the beginning. And after defining the scope, right, do you think there should be some flexibility to discuss some personal issues, or should it be strictly restricted to the predefined scope? Because I know for me personally, I think it's important to be authentic in everything we do. I have honestly been tremendously blessed to be mentored by different people in my life. But the people that I've benefited the most from have been the mentors who related to me on a personal level, mentors who showed me that I'm normal, mentors who showed me that, this person that I really admire and respect so much is just a normal person like me facing similar issues in their daily lives. However, I think that every relationship should have boundaries. So this is my question. How does a mentor balance being real and authentic with, preserving their own privacy, so to speak?
Just like it's also again relevant to how we build the rules from the very beginning
Mm-hmm,
and make sure that we are not crossing our each other's borders. Because like when I from my point of view, we should able to discuss the private things when we are open, but pri- not too personal things, just like because people have tendency to talk about too personal things um after a while. Like we should just like rethink, remember our goals and targets, because we're trying to reach out our goals and targets. Like we need to also value the time we share together, because time there is a return of investment for this time, and it's not relevant to any just like not just like money, or you need to have some knowledge at the end
Yeah.
based on your targets. And if you're personalizing too many things,
Mm-hmm.
you're actually spending that time for other personal things, but without talking those personal issues, you cannot understand the other side in real way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are sometimes a mirror for you that is like to encourage you to discover your own potential. And if you don't show your personality or what you really think, the technical knowledge itself, of course, valuable, but it's not that efficient without your personality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why don't really hesitate to show your personality or what you think. Share the personal information if you're really fine with that. If you don't want to, there's no problem. But from my point of view, it is important. And then don't personalize to all the time. And if you really would like to talk personal things, if one day if you visit that person in their city, you can have a coffee together, or just like do something else. Or if you go a conference together,
Mm-hmm.
just have a valuable time together in the coffee break or dinner or lunch,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just like spending your mentorship hours for all the private issues all the times. Make sure you're reaching those targets and goals. And if you need to revise the goals, don't hesitate, talk about them.
Yeah.
And when you talk about personal issues, you will also find out most of the times the mentors are responsible to find out. And you need to improve this and that. Let's think about it and revise the goals and add this and this. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the right approach to ask, or just like advise your mentees, and saying that, hey, you're just like actually this kind of person. This is great, and I think you need to improve this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you add this target to our mentorship program, and you will have something else. And it's important to be flexible in the journey, because it's all about discovering
Yeah.
each other's not only boundaries and knowledge and personal space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. With regards to your point about revising things, I think sometimes a mentorship journey could evolve. So it could start out, in a certain way at the beginning, but then as that mentorship journey, to use Simai's words, as that journey, keeps progressing, and you get to learn things about each other, you get to learn the needs of each other at that particular season of their life, then it could evolve where you could go into some personal things just to become more relatable, as the mentor to the mentee now. Yeah, so I think I totally agree with you, Simai, that you should be real, you should be authentic. That way the mentees will get to connect with you on a totally different level when you're very real, very authentic, and they can see you as a human being,
Yeah, of
in a manner of speaking. So yeah, thank you so much for that,
course.
Simai.
Of course.
Simai, I know that you have mentored, a diverse group of people, right, ranging from students to young professionals. So, can you speak a little bit on the differences between mentoring students versus mentoring young professionals, or maybe even mid-career professionals as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, based on IEEE description, young
Mm-hmm.
professionals is 15 years with after the graduation, the bachelor's graduation. So, like, still the grad students, they're part of young professionals within this 15 years. But you can be already in your mid-level career within this 15 years if you are already in the industry in the 5 or 10 years. So that means we are very diverse in young professionals. And it's also very valuable to be mentor for young students, but the needs of the grad students and
Mm-hmm.
undergraduate students are just totally different. So like how we will define the goals of each group is very important, because within the young professional groups, within first 5 years and last 5 years, these two groups, they could be a perfect match to be mentor and mentee to each other, and or somewhere in the middle. Within this 15 years, you could even say, like a and half of. And experience is not about number of the year. Experience is all about how much like you fit in to this years. So then we can even have a 5 years experience mentor
Mm-hmm.
to the first year in the industry, or someone undergrad. So like it was also the same for my journey, because in the different stages of my life, uh even within my young professionals journey, um I had different experiences to share with different group of people. So like the profile of the mentees uh I had privilege to match. So like just like there were just like a good points to share. So it's not really number of the years of experience, but it's all about what would you like to share between. So then the group, young professional group itself, and undergraduate students, they're perfect to each other or within young professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to see why you admire that person. You don't need to admire to your mentor. You need to be transparent about knowledge that you would like to get from them. Like it's not about admiring only. Like you admire each other when you know each other
Mm-hmm.
between. So your mentor admire you as well. So and your mentor will also learn something from you. So that's why, like even senior like level experiences, we are just not only mid-level career, but also, just like very senior level career, just like mentors we have. They even learn a lot of things from young generation, because we need to be updated for today's knowledge. So then we need to see the value of this sharing. And if you have the grad students, they obviously have just different targets than the graduate students, undergraduate students. Undergraduate students is more like a more clarification about the direction and journey, what to do next, first job opportunities, to be more flexible, to be open, how to equip yourself to get the first job or be in academia or industry. Like these kind of clarification is really, really important for undergraduate student
Mm-hmm.
mentorship programs
Mm-hmm.
or mentorship matching. So like and within young professionals group, so it depends what you want, what you can give.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you touched on this a little bit in the beginning. For a mentorship relationship, of course, we know that it's very common for the mentee to
Mhm.
accomplish a career goal or gain a technical skill. But what would you say that mentors, because you mentioned that mentors have some things to gain. So what would you say that mentors have to gain from such a relationship? Because it shouldn't be a one-sided or a sort of parasitic relationship, right? It should be a form of mutualism where both parties gain. So what would you say that mentors have to gain from such a relationship?
Mentorship, mentors are like a caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you give your value, you give your time, you give your knowledge, but itself is a passion. You're a mentor because you like to touch people's life, right? But every single minute you give our knowledge, you're also seeing the improvements of the other side. And actually, we keep inspiring each other in every stage of our life. And when you change and when you learn from your mentor, you start shining. That shine reaches your mentor, and it is very obvious that they learn from you as well. Because like you have, I mean, like maybe they're too busy to reskill themselves or upskill themselves for an emerging technology, that you have a lot of knowledge and you share just one single sentence and you inspire them because they have more knowledge than you, but they need inspiration
Mm-hmm.
time to time to remind them they need to do something else. And we need to remind where to go next. Because like we sometimes forget when we are too busy,
Mm-hmm.
we forget to think about that. What is next for us? If you're passionate already, if you're a mentor, so like you're ready to learn and be inspired from others. And if you're already mentee, that means you're eager to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That is not just one mentor. That means you already have lots of knowledge. You learn from different channels. In one single sentence, you will inspire your mentor as much as your mentor inspires you in different ways. That's why it's actually a connection.
Yeah, totally. And I think also that mentors also, get to enhance their interpersonal and
Yeah.
communication skills as well, because it's kind of, skills is a skill is something that should be trained, in order to get better at it. And
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
by engaging in such a mentorship relationship, the mentor gets to, you know, enhance their skills. And, as Simai was saying, they also get to be a part of the change that creates future leaders and experts in
Mm-hmm.
the power and energy field. So,
Yeah,
yeah, awesome. Thank you, Simai.
of course.
So we're gradually bringing this to a close. And to close off this discussion, I would like you to mention one memorable relationship, I mean, mentorship relationship that you had, in which, one in which you were a mentor and another in which you were a mentee, and let us know why that relationship stands out in your mind and how it has helped to shape who you are today, professionally and in your career.
For both relationship by being mentor and mentee, like for me, it's actually a real achievement when you realize after a while you're still connected and there are few memories that you shared change your life in different ways.
Mm.
Because just like you recall that memory after years, that means you already touched that person's life. Just like seeing someone on the in a conference or in a coffee break and saying, you remember you told me this, that happened. Or you just discover something that you never thought about, and that happened, and it changed that person's life. And the other way around, if your mentor did that to you, and after a while, if your mentor met with you and says, I'm so proud of you because you achieved this and that, and I'm aware
Mhm.
what you have done so far, that is priceless. Yeah, I mean, then it's worth it,
Mhm.
that you would like to inspire more people and you get inspired.
Totally. Thank you so much, Simai.
Of course.
So, do you have any last words that you would like to give our young professionals with regards to mentorship? Just final
Well,
thoughts.
keep shining. People will discover your potential,
Mm.
and keep inspiring, and keep caring. You will discover your own potential and others' potential together, because we always shine together, not alone.
There you have it, folks. Keep shining and keep inspiring. Thank you so much for joining us today to celebrate PS Day. As we have
Happy People's Day,
discussed,
everyone.
happy PS Day, everyone. And we hope to see more of you. Definitely stay tuned by subscribing to the IEEE PES YP YouTube channel and also follow us on all our social media channels. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And one last thing, if you're attending IEEE PES TND conference next week, come and meet with us.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.